You've done everything right, saved consistently for 30 years. Maxed out your 401k, never touched the money. You retire with $2.5 million in your account, feeling secure and proud. Then you hit 73 and the IRS sends you a letter about required minimum distributions. You're forced to withdraw $100,000 that year. Money you don't need. Money you don't want. And suddenly, you're paying more in taxes than you did when you were working. How is that even possible? Most people think the dream is to retire with a huge 401k or IRA. But here's the twist that many don't see coming. Morningstar has published several studies showing if you enter retirement with $1 to $3 million in traditional tax-deferred accounts, you may pay more in lifetime taxes than you did while you were working. Not because you did anything wrong, but rather because the US tax system is designed to punish those who have large traditional account balances. I know immediately some people might be thinking, most people don't have $1 million invested. Isn't it only a small minority? Well, if we look at the general population, yes. But for disciplined and consistent savers, it happens. Fidelity's Millionaire Outlook found nearly 8 in 10 millionaires built their wealth through regular employer income and steady investing. This is literally the 401k IRA path. Ramsey Solutions found 93% of millionaires built their wealth in ordinary jobs. Teachers, engineers, IT managers, healthcare workers. They didn't inherit money, they simply saved and invested. So while $1 to $3 million may sound like a lot, millions of everyday Americans will retire with seven-figure balances inside tax-deferred accounts, which means they are the exact group that Morningstar is warning about. I am your Mr. Brother, and today I'm going to walk you through exactly how it happens, who's most at risk, and how you can fix it before RMDs show up like an unexpected tax bomb. Morningstar's research keeps showing the same thing. Retirees with $1 to $3 million in tax-deferred accounts often pay the highest lifetime tax bills of any group of savers. It's not the ultra-wealthy. It's the consistent and disciplined savers who unintentionally build this tax problem. Why? Because once you hit your early 70s, the IRS takes control of your withdrawal schedule. Up until that point, you can take as much or as little as you want from your 401k or IRA. But once you reach RMD age, currently 73 and eventually increasing to 75, that freedom disappears. RMDs, or required minimum distributions, are mandatory withdrawals the IRS forces you to take out of your traditional retirement accounts every single year, whether you need the money or not. And that percentage you must withdraw goes up every single year. Let me give you a real example. Meet a couple entering retirement with $1.5 million in a traditional IRA. They're 65 modest spenders and they plan to withdraw about 4% a year, roughly $60,000. Here's the problem. Even when they're withdrawing $60,000 a year, the portfolio keeps growing. In many Morningstar models, it grows to $1.80 or even $2 million or more by age 73. That means their very first RMD could easily be $75,000, $80,000, or even $90,000. Then add in Social Security, maybe another $50,000 combined, and suddenly they're pushed into higher tax brackets. 85% of their Social Security becomes taxable. They trigger RMAA, Medicare surcharges, and their marginal tax rate can spike to 27.75% or even 46.25% because of the tax torpedo. Let's simplify this because the tax torpedo is one of the most misunderstood parts of retirement planning. When you take money out of a traditional 401k or IRA, that money is taxable. But here's the twist. Those withdrawals can also make more of your Social Security become taxable. So one extra dollar you take out doesn't just count as $1 of income. It can drag up to 85 cents of your Social Security into your taxable income at the same time. There are two main danger zones. The 27.75% marginal tax zone for people who think they're in the 12% bracket. In this zone, each $1 of additional IRA withdrawal causes up to 50 cents of Social Security to become taxable. So you're being taxed on $1.50 of income for every dollar you withdraw. Then we have the 46.25% marginal tax zone for people who think they're in the 22% bracket. In this zone, each $1 of IRA withdrawal causes 85 cents of Social Security to be taxed. So you're taxed on $1.85 for every dollar you take out. It's not because the bracket itself is high, it's that two taxes hit the same dollar at once. And this hit is the tax torpedo. Most retirees assume that the tax torpedo is a wealthy retiree problem. But that's not the case. In fact, it's the wealthy who tend to skip right over it. The couple with $70,000 in a pension, a six-figure RMD, $3 million or more in accounts, those households already have 85% of their Social Security taxed, so there's no phase-in left to trigger. They've moved right past the tax torpedo. The real impact lands on the disciplined savers. These are people who saved consistently for decades, spent modestly, built $1 to $2 million mainly inside traditional 401ks and IRAs. They don't have big pensions and rely on a mix of Social Security and IRA withdrawals. Their income usually falls in the range of $40,000 to $120,000, which just so happens to be the Social Security taxation phase-in zone. In other words, it's teachers, nurses, engineers, federal employees, small business professionals, mid-level managers, and everyday savers with $1 to $1.5 million in retirement accounts. They did everything right, and they're the ones who get hit with the tax torpedo. There is absolutely nothing wrong with saving in a traditional 401k or IRA. For many people, it is that tax deduction that makes saving possible in the first place. But decades of retirement research all point to the same conclusion. For many workers, especially those whose income grows over time, adding Roth into the mix early in your career can dramatically improve your long-term tax picture. Here's why the Roth can be so powerful. You pay taxes when you're younger and often in lower tax brackets, and then you avoid paying taxes when your income's higher, when RMDs are at play, or when Social Security is there. Roth accounts have no RMDs, which means you're not forced to take money out at any point. And when the money comes out, it comes out completely tax-free, so it doesn't influence whether you're hit with an IRMAA surcharge or how much of your Social Security is taxed. Roth withdrawals don't count as taxable income, which keeps your Medicare costs lower. Traditional accounts tell you when and how much you have to withdraw. Roth accounts don't. You can decide to pull money out and spend it. You can let it grow. You can use it as a buffer. You can save it for future healthcare costs. You can leave it to your heirs tax-free. Roth is flexibility. Morningstar's analysis routinely shows those that use a Roth early in life and then strategically use Roth conversions later end up with more spendable income in retirement and a lower lifetime total tax bill. This brings us to one of the most important opportunities in all of retirement tax planning: Roth conversion windows. Morningstar's research is clear on this. The years between retirement and your early 70s are one of the most valuable tax planning windows you will ever have. Why? Because your income tends to dramatically drop once you step away from the workforce. Your paycheck stops. Maybe you haven't yet claimed Social Security and RMDs haven't started yet. This creates a rare period, 5, 10, maybe 12 years, where your tax bracket is the lowest it will ever be again. And this is where a Roth conversion can be incredibly powerful. Rather than waiting for RMDs to kick in at 73 or 75, you take advantage of this period where you're in lower tax brackets and you move money from your traditional into a Roth and you pay taxes at a lower rate. This is exactly how retirees shrink their future RMDs, reduce the tax torpedo, avoid IRMAA surcharges, and lower their lifetime tax bill by tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. Earlier, we saw how a tax torpedo unfolded for a couple with $1.5 million in a traditional IRA. Let's look at what could have happened. Because the tax problem we walked through wasn't unavoidable, it was predictable. It was preventable. If they had used a bit of Roth earlier, even directing a portion of their contributions into a Roth in lower earning years early in their career, They would have reduced the size of the IRA that later grew into a tax problem. If they had blended pre-tax and Roth savings, they would enter retirement with flexibility instead of everything sitting in a single tax bucket. If they had done modest Roth conversions in their 60s, this is the biggest opportunity most retirees miss. The years between retirement and RMD age before Social Security starts are often the lowest tax years of someone's adult life. Even converting $20,000 to $40,000 a year in this window has an impact. It shrinks the future IRA balance, it reduces RMDs, it keeps more Social Security tax-free. It lowers the chance of triggering IRMAA and dramatically cuts the lifetime tax bill. Roth conversions between retirement and RMD age often reduce lifetime tax bills by 6 figures. So let's compare. The reality today is that their IRA went from $1.5 million to around $2 million at RMD age. Their RMD is now $80,000 to $90,000 or more. 85% of their Social Security becomes taxable. Higher brackets RMAA may kick in. Lifetime taxes compound year after year. But what if they had followed a Roth path? The IRA would be much smaller by the time they're 73. Their RMDs could be substantially lower, maybe $40,000 or $50,000. Far less of their Social Security would be pulled into taxation. They would have lower Medicare premiums, and their lifetime tax bill will be dramatically reduced. The difference isn't just about taxes, it's also about control. The Roth account allows you to decide when to take out and how much to take out, and control which bracket you end up in. When you have just a traditional, that control is really out of your hands. So if you're in your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, and you're consistently saving and you're looking at traditional accounts that are on track to grow to $1 million or $2 million or $3 million, the research is clear. Do not enter retirement with all of your wealth in traditional accounts. It might feel tax efficient now, you capture that deduction, your take-home pay looks higher. But later in life, that efficiency could flip and become one of the biggest tax problems you'll ever face. A balanced approach, Roth, traditional, and taxable, gives you options. It gives you the ability to manage when and how you realize income. And ultimately, it makes your retirement safer, more flexible, and far more predictable. The goal isn't just to save money, it's to save money in the right places so your future self has choices. You work too hard to build up your accounts to have the IRS dictate them entirely. The goal isn't to retire with a big number, it's to retire with control. And the sooner you start building multiple buckets, the more you're going to have control over your planning and control over your retirement. If this video helped you understand the retirement tax trap, hit that like button and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.